The fall of 2023 has been one of the best times for science fiction and gaming. With Starfield's beta release and Cyberpunk 2077 finally leaving early access, it has been amazing. I mean, even Baldur's Gate 3's plot has some serious sci-fi vibes. So I thought now would be a great time to revisit the science fiction theme in adult gaming. As always, all links can be found for free on my Patreon. First up, we have the completed visual novel, Toro 7. You have just been hired as the new security guard for Deep Station Toro 7, an underwater research facility. As you explore and get used to your new job, you will also be given the chance to find out what really happened to the last security guard and why everyone's on edge talking about it. Toro 7 allows you to play as a man or a woman, and the flavors you encounter will be shaped by that choice. There is also a romance focus, as well as optional trans content, but this is not a harem game. The only real big downside is that the sexual interactions are not animated and don't have sound. I found this title to be great if you enjoy sci-fi suspense like The Abyss and Sphere. Toro 7 is available for PC, Mac, and Linux on their Patreon. Our next title, Subverse, is one of the games that I am most excited to see completed. There has been a lot of progress, and we're just now starting to see some of the endgame content added in the form of the devotion quests. These are each of the romanceable characters' side quests, and given the current pace of development, we should hopefully see the completed version of Subverse sometime in 2025. Maybe 2024 if they decide to delay some of the promised Kickstarter goals to DLCs or expansions. Let me know if you want to see a full review updating all of the changes since my last video from early 2022. Subverse is available for PC on Steam and GOG. Next we have Color of My Sound. I first covered this espionage space opera harem in my top new fall Patreons of 2021 video. And I'm happy to say that since then, sound was added to this game as well as some music. The renders are decent, but there are no animations. The story is interesting, but I gotta be honest, it is also kind of confusing. There is a lot of info dumping as a part of the world building, so if you like that level of detail, definitely check this game out. Color of My Sound is available for PC, Mac, and Linux on itch.io and their Patreon, where you can also find a free demo. How to Fix the Future is our next sci-fi adventure. You play as a normal guy just living an unremarkable life, when you are suddenly thrust into the distant future when you complete this weird video game. It is now 2121, and the world that you knew was destroyed in an apocalypse. Now, time travel plots are a bit tricky to pull off, so we'll just have to see where it goes. Or would it be when it goes? Visually, the renders are amazing, and the sexual scenes are animated and sometimes interactive, but silent. While this is a mainly male heterosexual harem experience, there is also some optional femdom and trans content. How to Fix the Future is available for PC, Mac, Linux, and Android on itch.io and their Patreon, where you can also find a free demo of Chapter 1. Next up is Sexbot. Prom is in a week, and you have to find a date. Fortunately, your best friend has just given you an android that you can calibrate to have whatever personality you want her to have. How you choose that personality to manifest will heavily influence your early flavors. Yes, this sounds a lot like the plot of Weird Science, but there is more to this game after the first week. Spoilers. Sexbot is available for PC and Mac on their Patreon and itch.io. From the same developer of The Princess and the Tower, a title I covered in my top Goblin Games list, we have Space Journey X. Like in the previous game, there is a lot going on here. You can mine asteroids, you can create a sexbot, you can fight space pirates, you can travel across galaxies, and of course you can train and discipline your crew. The sexual interactions are animated and look great, but don't have sound. Travel the galaxy and become a famous captain in Space Journey X, available for PC, Mac, and Linux on their Patreon and itch.io. Our next title is X-Trek 2: A Night with Crusher, a completed Star Trek parody. This is a lighthearted harem comedy that takes place during the Next Generation series. I mean, it makes sense to choose TNG as Professor X used to be the best captain. The recent Picard series totally dropped Jean-Luc behind Benjamin Sisko, and if you disagree, I am happy to release trilithium resin in the upper atmosphere of your planet. And if you understood what I was just talking about, then you will probably enjoy this game. Otherwise, you may want to pass on this one. X-Trek 2: A Night with Crusher is available for PC on itch.io and their Patreon. Next up is Stellar Dream, a visual novel by the same developer of Shelter and The Fate of Urnia. Overpopulation has become a serious problem by 2237, and you are tasked with finding a planet suitable for colonization. The main character has stats that can be increased, and they can affect how your story unfolds. As with the previous titles, the story branches between romance and corruption paths. The art for the characters and backgrounds is really good, and there are sexual animations. Find your new home in Stellar Dream, available for PC, Mac, Linux, and Android on their Patreon and itch.io. For our next title, we have the Mass Effect parody, The Pilgrimage. You play as Tali Zora, and you find yourself and some merchants trapped on a ship. The gameplay was enjoyable and easy as you explore the unknown ship fighting monsters, hacking through security doors, and resisting the forces of corruption. While the renders are dated, the sexual interactions are well animated and they have sounds. Flavor-wise, there is a heavy focus on monsters and corruption. So if you're a fan of Mass Effect, mutated bears, and enjoy these flavors, The Pilgrimage is definitely a game to check out, available for PC on Subscribestar. And finally, we have Artemis Book 1. You are a gifted engineer looking for a new start in life after going through a breakup, losing your high-paying job, and getting evicted. Eventually, you end up befriending a sorority tech group and crashing at your childhood friend's billion-dollar house, who also happens to be building an android and is in need of some assistance. I mean, this is an even more convoluted set of circumstances than we see in the strangest anime. Weird, not relatable plot aside, the renders are great in this romantic harem. There are also minigames and free roaming elements that make this visual novel really fun to play. Artemis Book 1 is available for PC, Mac, SteamOS, and Linux on Steam and their Patreon, with a demo on itch.io. There you have it. Science fiction is my favorite genre, and I love the number of new games we're seeing come out. Now we just need to see some new space westerns. That would be amazing. Until next time, no shaming, just gaming. Thanks to all this month's support on Patreon. I wouldn't have been able to do this without you all.